Hey guys, you're watching one and only. My name is AJ. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Build a Cruise Ship. I didn't check my hair today. Is my hair alright? Look, I'm going bald. I'm not going bald. It's just, well, I don't know if I am going bald or not. My hairline always seems to recede. It's always been like that since I was born, though. Anyway, moving on. Let's get off that subject. Last episode, we done the whole side, or a huge amount of the side here, working out what different window sizes we want, working out how many different lifeboats we wanted, some of the more aesthetical designs, and I've touched up a little bit more on them. Obviously, I've added all of the balconies that go all the way down the side of the boat. I changed up this section a little bit, made this a little bit thicker, just changed around some little sections. Still needs some more teasing, like for example I think this block needs to go. That was looking a little bit out of place, and it's a lot of that kind of thing at the moment. It's just a lot of sort of touching up. I changed some, or moved, took one window away that was there, took one window that was away that was there, so I could make that a little bit thicker. And it's those kind of changes that really will make the difference at the end, at least in my opinion. So, today, hopefully, I want to really be able to tell 100% for sure or not if we need to extend this boat. Half of me and half of you, keep telling me, nope, it's about the right length. Well, a third say it's about the right length. A third of me and a third of you guys in the comments say it's too short. And then the other third of you guys and the other third of me says... No, there isn't really that many that say it's too long. There's a couple that say it's too long, but I really think it's too long. I think it's either correct or a little bit too short. And it's really, really tough to determine what it is. I'm 85.732% sure it's too short. That's a precise number, isn't it? That's how, yeah, I don't even know what number I said. I was going to say it again, but no. The number was gone. 83.7, was it? 85.7% sure that it's too short. Only slightly. I'm talking about 10, 15 blocks, which sort of sounds like a lot, but when you put it onto the scale of what this boat is, it's really not that much of a difference. But I think it's just a matter of sort of slowly building parts of the boat up to get to the end of the ship before we can really tell. There's no way to sort of shortcut the process, and the last thing you want to do is just guess. If you just guess, you can end up in all kinds of trouble trying to get things right. Okay, so we've got that one. This is what I mean with the two angles that I pointed out. I really like this black part. You guys thought this black part was going to be really cool as well. We shall have tennis court on the top, swimming pool on the top, at least. Maybe some, I know some of them, and I think some yachts as well have at least a golf hole or like a driving range sort of thing with a net behind it. I don't exactly know what the point of that would be. I can understand tennis courts. I can understand swimming pool. I cannot understand a golf thing on the top of a boat. I don't know. I just don't understand it. I did look at some of the roofs on them though. Some of the tennis courts are open to the elements, so like you're actually in an open up area. Some of them are sort of enclosed within a like a glass shell. You know, all the way around. Some of them have like a fence up as if you would find them on the street. So I suppose the ball doesn't fall off the edge of the whole world. So this has to sort of go back there. See, this is what I mean. It is so close to being bang on that I don't think there's going to be that much point extending that part. Well, a couple of windows might be extended, but I don't think anything more is really that much required. Let's add this on the inside. And it doesn't matter if all of the lengths of these three sections are different. I'm not planning to keep them all exactly the same. As long as they're not too far off, it's not going to really be noticeable. But they definitely weren't meant to be all at the same length. That's for sure. So, let's drag this one back. And I don't know if you guys can notice from this angle, but I mentioned it last episode. The first one angles towards the front of the ship. The back one angles towards the back of the ship. See how that goes up towards the back? That one angles up towards the back. But those two go up towards the front. And this middle one sort of goes in both directions. I think that's a really cool design. It's a really good way of sort of capping the top of the ship off in a really nice way. Oh, by the way, I added more Did I say I added more lifeboats? I don't know. Anyway, I added all 8 of them in. What we also want to do is, I don't know when to start the bottom of the ship. That's a really tough thing to do, and I don't know when I want to start it. I know I need to, but I don't know when. I think I'm going to take this block away, and I'm going to drag this way. And then there was the other bit of red down here. See this bit of red here? I was thinking about continuing this red through this white and even around the front of the ship. I just thought it was... in my head, it sounds really good. Until we do it, we don't know. But there's a load of these like little touches that I want to do, and it really isn't helping us build the rest of the boat. But when it's in your head, you have to do it then. There's no way that you can like not do it when it first pops in your head. Otherwise, you'll just forget about it. And then you guys will comment reminding me, and then I remember, but then I forget again, and it's a horrible, horrible cycle. Let's just have a look at that. Does that red look... It's nicely sort of not quite centered, but nicely in the middle there. We've even got the room to put the grey ring around as well. That actually sounds like a pretty sick idea. Let's put this grey one around. Now check this out. When we get around at this part, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But when we get round to the front of the ship, check this out. Nearly there. Now we're at the front of the ship. Yeah, check this out. Right, we've now got one white block above and one white block below, and it just is. It puts that dead in the middle where we want it. And I think it's a really nice 2 colours. These 2 colours go really, really well together. A lot better than I thought they would, actually. Now, how does that look if we back off? Just that little touch of colour. Yeah, that's going to help wrapping around the entire boat, isn't it? That's really, really going to help. I also think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the same sort of thing going around here. So we'll have white on the top, obviously, but then grey along this one, red along this one, and then white goes all the way down to the bottom, where it'll then go back to red again down the bottom there. But I think that'll really help as well. Let's do it through this section. I've got a dove. We've got a lot of doves where I am. White doves. We started off many, many years ago with about, I don't know, 10 of them or so, and they kept breeding. And we sold them, and we gave them away to people that liked them, and they've been in some people's weddings and stuff like that. But it's got to the point where we have way, way too many of them, and they're getting really, really loud. They're throwing stuff down our chimney, making nests, and I've got one hooting on my roof at the moment. You won't be able to hear it through the microphone, but it drives you insane, especially when you're trying to watch a program or trying to record a video. That's for sure. Okay, that's looking really, really cool. I don't want to add too much more on the height of this. I think there might be one section up here which might hold the tennis courts, or the tennis courts might even be above this. Let's bring it back to about there. And then I'm going to have a sort of this diagonal shape that we have going up to about there. And then I want the same thing down the other side. And then I might do this on the back as well, but the middle part will be dropped down in the center. Do I want to add another block? No, that should be okay. So I have this going up here. Black will probably be in the middle of that. Oh, should I get it? I could get it to mirror the one below. Would that look good? No, I'm going to move this back, actually. I'm going to move it back here. Take this away. But should the back one mirror? That's what I'm unsure about. Like, should we do this pattern that would go up? That one, that one, that one, that one. And then it then continues through, if you know what I mean. Like the angle continue. Yeah, that looks okay. Do a similar thing on the back as well. But maybe this one should be in a little bit. No. I don't want to be too indecisive, otherwise we'll never get anywhere, will we? But I think the length is good. I think we've got the length of the ship. So, what's the next thing? I suppose the next thing will be actually doing the bottom of the boat to actually hold itself up. This shouldn't at first be too difficult. At first, we've got this one to this one. Ooh, and we want to set it to 159.9. Set 159.9. And we want to do this one to this one and set it to 159.14. We want to grab this one to that one, set snow blocks. I had a 9 in it and it's still done it. Wow, that's pretty clever game. And then down here. Oh, that should probably be red clay, shouldn't it? Instead of red wool. I didn't even know that was red wool. Yeah, there we go. That looks much cleaner, much better. That one all the way over to that corner there. Now, this is easy because the sides are flat. There's not really anything that bows back. I might bow... Ooh, I might bow one level back somewhere down here and just bring it in by one block. But they're very, very flat, especially on these sides. Hardly anything moves. When we start getting to the front and the back where it needs to curve, then we're going to have to start thinking a little bit more strategically. In fact, I'm going to go to about there. Oops. Oh, that one to down here. I obviously clicked the wrong block. Then we're going to have to start thinking about a little bit more strategically. Of course, at first, we're going to start it off looking square, and then we slowly round it off. We've done it many, many times in the past, so it shouldn't really be much of a problem. This pattern I hate, but that's the shadow of the balconies that we have above. I might be able to solve that some other way. Maybe even by turning on shaders might actually like get rid of that. I haven't looked at this in the shader pack yet, so I'm a little bit interested to see. I think my camera froze for a moment there. At least the preview did. Ugh. Yeah, it gets rid of... That's so bright. That is so bright. That looks really, really cool, though. That's looking really, really cool. It's going to take too long to load, though. I think the water is what takes the longest to load on these shaders. I think that's what really kills it. See, when you haven't got the shaders on, it just loads in so quickly. Now we've got the side in. I think we want to do the very front point and bring it back. Now, there's so many different shapes. We can have this go pretty much straight down. We're not going to do that. We can have it sort of slowly bow back like that. Like a pirate ship. Front of a pirate ship. You know, it goes straight first and then bows down. You can have it exactly diagonal if you wanted to. More like a speedboat. Sort of goes back very straight. I think that's sort of... well, the other option is actually to go back really thin and then actually bow it down. Instead of bowing it that way, you bow it the other way. Now, I think that would look the coolest, but it's also the hardest to then match in to the top. But I think we should try it. I think we should at least attempt it. So what we want to do is sort of first, you want to have a little bit of a nose section, of a thicker nose section. Maybe not quite that thick. Maybe one block less. Start off with a little bit of a bulky nose section. Then you want to sort of have this come in a little bit. See how we've sort of got this slow curve, but then goes back actually quite steep. Once we get to a point that we're quite happy with, what we're going to do is we're going to start sort of bowing it back out again. Something like this. I don't think we've gone quite enough back yet, though. About here. Now start bowing it diagonally. And then start bowing it down. Now, it's a hard shape to pull off. And it's going to make it even harder when we actually have to join all of these bits up together. But it looks so cool. I really like how that sort of bows forward and back. At least in this sort of 2D image that we have here. Once we 3D it out, it might be different. But who knows? It's going to be a tough one to tell. We have grey and red to go underneath it. But what's the tactic? How exactly am I going to get it to match up? How am I going to get that to match up to there? How am I going to get that to match up down to the bottom one? Well, that's just trial and error. There's no real tip or anything that I can give for this. Let's just sort of start it off together. We shall put the grey ones in first and the red ones below, because we know that they have to be there. And I think having them flat and flush with the white block that's above it is probably going to be a benefit. So these are flat, but then below this red one, we should probably actually have a layer of snow below that red one. Otherwise, we're going to be able to see the bottom of the red layers on some blocks, and I don't think that's going to look very good. So we have another layer to do underneath this of snow, and then the curve begins. Wow, look at that lighting update, huh? The block didn't place, and then it updated it all. So, one more layer of snow, and then the curve begins. Now, it's going to have to be quite a sharp curve, which might change the whole shape of what we have here currently. It might end up being diagonal. It might even end up bowing out. But if I can pull off that shape to look good, I'd love it, because in my opinion, it's the coolest shape. It looks really, really smooth, like it would really fly through the water well, you know, move through as easy as anything else, even though it's such a big ship. So, let's start at the front. As you get further and further back, it should get easier and easier. We're going to have that one and that one. That's pretty simple. Then I'm going to do something like this. Now already I can start to see a pattern that I can start off with before we start tweaking. And that is this layer right here. We saw this. In fact, yeah, probably do it like that for the minute. I'm going to do this. Once you start off with a little section of the boat, you'll already instantly start to see little patterns that you can do to help speed up the process. And so bringing this block back by 1 is the first one. Now, doing this all the way down will make your boat look very square. That doesn't matter. You can always tune it up afterwards. I've been tuning up, you know, shapes like this for quite a while now. Quite a lot recently, to be fair, on all sorts of other builds that we've been doing. Okay, that might change, but for the moment, I'm going to leave it there. But now we've got that in, I can now go underneath here again and sort of start the next bit. And match this up how I think it would be good, and see if there's a pattern that again occurs. And it looks like there is. It looks like it's going sort of... See this pattern that we're getting? So it looks like it's going to be 2 blocks down underneath each one. So we're going to do that. We're just going to sort of trust our gut pattern and then change it up afterwards. There's nothing more that you can really do with it. I'm going to... Should I do that one? No. I'm going to do that one. And that one. The block kept disappearing on me. It drove me insane. And that one. And that one. And that one. I'm not going to go all the way this time, because that was definitely wrong. That strip that goes down there. That one. And that one. That one. That one. That one. Yeah, and I think it'll sort of... I don't know. I'm going to take this away here. I'm going to ignore all of that bit. All of this section in the middle here. I'm going to ignore that for the moment. Okay, starting to bow already, though. We're starting to get this sort of pattern that we wanted to end up with, which is really, really useful that we're getting it so early on. So now we're going to go under here. I think probably the pattern that we want is going to be something like that. No. That and that. That could be the next part of our pattern, and that one. That could easily be the next part of our pattern. Yeah, I'm going to trust my gut again, and I'm going to go with this. Oops. That one. I should do it on the inside. It's much quicker. That one, that one, that one. That one, that one, that one. And there's no fast way to do this. I will have to cut some of this out, but I don't want to cut a lot of it out, because I know you guys like to follow along. I'm going to take that one away. This one. But there is obviously going to be some cuts that I'm going to cut out. I might do it off camera between episodes. I might cut it out as if like off camera work during an episode. All sorts really. But as long as you can get it started by yourself, you should be able to finish it off quite easily. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Here we're starting with this sort of blockness that I expected to get from doing the pattern like this. But it should help quite easily. I'm going to do this all the way down. I am going to have to cut it out because we are running out of time here. But sort of just add a few blocks. Do one layer at a time. Work it down. Back off between each layer. If it doesn't look right between each layer, take it out. Try it again. And I shall see you in about half an hour, 40 minutes. For me. Okay, so I do apologise. I really do apologise for having to cut parts out of the video. This isn't a tutorial, and you can't do a tutorial on something that you've never built before. That's what makes it really difficult for me. If I had built this before, then yeah, it'd have been fine. I can easily do a tutorial on something I've already built once. But I've never built anything like this before, which makes it very hard to be able to teach someone or show exactly how many blocks and what to do on each layer, because I just don't know. And I've been here for, I don't know, nearly an hour doing this, just tuning little bits up, and it's looking pretty sick. I think we've got the front about right. There's a couple of little bits. I don't like this bit here, and I don't like that bit there. Let's do this one first. It's such a hard thing to do, to get right, these boats. But something that I didn't quite know, the bigger you go, the bigger the boat is, the easier it is. And that doesn't really make too much sense at first when you think, well, it's a bigger boat, it must be harder. But it's not. That's really not the case. In fact, as it turns out, as I've found out for myself, the bigger the boat is, the more room you have to rectify mistakes before they stand out too much. And it sounds really weird, but it's so true. The bigger it is, the more flowing the lines can be, the easier the easier you can blend certain bits of the boat into other parts of the boat, and it comes away really, really easy. I mean, that looks like a pretty solid front, and yet there's quite a lot that can be done to really spruce it up. There's like little corners here, look, that we can see, like a complete right angle that really don't look that good. And we can solve some of these ones by putting blocks in places instead, like that. And it sort of just smooths it all out, and it sort of rounds out very diagonal. It's very diagonal down those sections, but you want to try and keep this sort of smooth curve look that we've got. And it's so getting there. It's looking really, really nice. I don't need to worry about doing the other side, because what I'm able to do with World Edit is once I've done a half of the ship, I can then just flip it and paste it onto the other side. So I'm not worrying about doing the other side. If you're doing it on console, then you're going to have to try and at least mirror it as close as possible. It doesn't matter if you're a block or two or even 100 blocks out overall on a boat this size, because you're not going to be able to tell the difference. But try and get it as close as you can, because obviously it will really, really help. That, though, is looking good. We've now got, like, the diameter. Can I see anything on this boat? No, you can just see how it bends back. Still looks pretty cool. We've now got this nice flat side. We need to do the back next episode. I would really like to do the back of the boat hull, and I would like to do the part that comes up. Now, I'm going to go out to there, so, like, bow out, and then I'm going to come up at an angle. Not quite 45 degrees, so I'm going to come up a sort of angle, and I think that'll look really cool on our cruise ship here. But yeah, not much that I can really do off camera without disturbing or ruining if you guys want to build along with certain things. But I might be able to touch up a little bit on the front and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll be getting to the point where we'll be able to put some tennis courts and stuff down soon. But I am really, really enjoying all of this hard work bit. It's like one of the funnest parts for me. My hair is all messed up. I'm going to have to end off the video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you haven't already, then feel free to subscribe. And we shall see you in the next episode.